The Federation Council chamber had never been so quiet. 3 days after the battle in the neutral zone, delegates from across the galaxy sat in stunned silence as they watched the complete recordings of the engagement. The holographic display showed the systematic destruction of the Korthax fleet in brutal detail. Ambassador Sora Park stood at the center of the chamber, no longer relegated to the back rows. The Federation leadership had moved Earth's representatives to the inner circle immediately after receiving the battle reports. The engagement lasted 4 hours and 17 minutes, she reported to the Assembly. Earth forces suffered minor damage to 7 vessels with no crew casualties. Korthax forces suffered total destruction or disabling of 37 out of 40 ships. Councillor Thexnil of the Zephyrians spoke first. His voice had lost all traces of the amusement he had shown just days earlier. Ambassador Park, we need to understand something. Were your forces holding back during the first engagement? Sora looked at Chief Military Advisor Tae-Min Kim, who stepped forward to answer. Counselor, during the initial demonstration, we used approximately 10% of our available firepower. We were attempting to minimize casualties while proving our point. And during the second engagement, we used 30% of our capability. Chamber erupted in shocked whispers. Multiple delegates spoke at once in their various languages. The council speaker, a tall Vegan with blue skin, raised his 4 arms for silence. Advisor Kim, are you saying that Earth's military could have fought more aggressively? Taemin's expression remained neutral. Sir, human military doctrine has many levels of engagement. What you witnessed was a demonstration of our conventional kinetic warfare capability. We have other weapon systems that we did not deploy. Engineer. Hyojin Choi activated a holographic display. It showed technical specifications for various human weapon systems. Distinguished delegates, Earth's military development focused on one primary goal: the complete elimination of any threat to human survival. Our weapons are designed around overwhelming force rather than precision targeting. A Luminos delegate flashed bright orange, which indicated extreme concern in their color language. Engineer Choi, how much ammunition do your ships typically carry? Sir, each heavy cruiser carries enough projectiles for continuous combat operations lasting 18 hours. Our destroyers carry enough for 12 hours of sustained fire. The numbers caused another stir throughout the chamber. Most Galactic military engagements lasted minutes, not hours. Councillor Thexanil asked the question that everyone was thinking. Why do you build your weapons this way? Other species have developed more efficient energy-based systems. Tae-Min Kim moved to the center of the chamber. His voice carried clearly to every delegate. Counselor, humanity is unique in the Federation. We are the only species that developed entirely on a single world, fighting only ourselves for thousands of years. While other species discovered space travel and encountered different civilizations, humans spent millennia perfecting the art of warfare against equally intelligent opponents. He activated another display showing Earth's military history. Every human conflict drove us to develop more effective ways to destroy our enemies. We learned that the most efficient way to end a war is to make resistance impossible. Not difficult, impossible. The chamber fell silent as delegates absorbed this information. Suddenly, a new communication came through. General Vextar himself appeared on the main display. The Korthax commander was in a medical facility, but his eyes were alert and focused. Honored delegates, he said, his voice carrying across the chamber. I have a statement to make. The council speaker nodded. Proceed. General! 3 days ago, I believed that humans were primitives with crude weapons. I have commanded Korthax forces for 300 years. I have fought against every major military power in this galaxy. But I have never encountered anything like human warfare doctrine. He paused, his scaled face showing something that looked like respect. Admiral Kang and her fleet didn't just defeat us. They redefined our understanding of what warfare can be. Their weapons are not primitive. They are fundamentally different from anything we have developed. General Vextar's image focused on Tae-min Kim. Advisor Kim, I have a question. During our second engagement, your forces deployed weapons that our sensors could barely track. How many different weapon systems do humans possess? Tae-min was quiet for a moment. General, I am not authorized to discuss classified military technology, but I can tell you that what you encountered represents our basic kinetic warfare capability. Basic? Yes, sir. Earth maintains several categories of military equipment. Kinetic weapons are our conventional systems. The implications hit the chamber like a shock wave. If kinetic weapons were just the basic level, what other capabilities did humans possess? A crystalline delegate activated their translation device. Advisor Kim, is Earth willing to share its military technology with Federation allies? Sir, Earth is committed to Federation security. We would be happy to discuss defensive partnerships with member species. Over the next several hours, something unprecedented happened in Federation politics. Species that had ignored Earth for 50 years suddenly wanted to establish military cooperation agreements. The Zephyrians requested human advisors for their defense planning. The Luminos beings wanted to study kinetic weapon technology. Even the proud Altarians admitted that their energy weapons might need supplementing with human-style projectile systems. But the most significant change came from an unexpected source. General Vextar requested private communication with Admiral Mi-young Kang. When the connection was established, the two military commanders faced each other across space. Admiral, the general said, I have spent my entire life studying warfare. But watching your fleet in action taught me something I never understood. What is that, General? There is a difference between fighting for conquest and fighting for survival. The Korthax fight to expand our territory and prove our strength. But humans fight as if their very existence depends on victory. Admiral Kang nodded slowly. General, that's exactly what we do. When humans go to war, we assume that defeat means extinction. So we fight accordingly. I understand now why your species reached the stars. It was not because you were explorers. It was because you were survivors. 3 months later, the changes in Federation politics were dramatic. Earth's representatives now sat in the Inner Council. Human military advisors worked with defense forces throughout the galaxy. The kinetic weapons that had been mocked as primitive were now being studied and copied by every major military power. But perhaps the most important change was personal. General Vextar requested assignment as a liaison officer to Earth's military command. His official reason was to study human tactical doctrine. His real reason was simpler. He wanted to learn from the only species that had turned warfare into a science. Ambassador Sora Park stood in her new office in the Federation's inner tower. Through the windows, she could see construction beginning. On the first joint human-alien military research facility, Tae-min Kim entered the office carrying reports from across the galaxy. How are our new partnerships developing? She asked. Better than expected. 17 species have requested human military advisors. 12 want to license our kinetic weapon technology. And the Korthax have formally requested a mutual defense treaty. Sora smiled. I remember when they were laughing at our bullets. They're not laughing anymore, Tae-min replied. But I think we need to be careful. Success can be as dangerous as failure. What do you mean? We've shown the galaxy that humans are effective warriors. But we also need to show them that we're trustworthy allies. Power without trust leads to fear. And fear leads to war. Sora nodded thoughtfully. So our next challenge is proving that humanity can be both strong and peaceful. Exactly. We've earned their respect. Now we need to earn their friendship. Outside the window, ships from a dozen different species worked together on the construction project. Human engineers worked alongside Zephyrian technicians and Luminos scientists. The sight would have been impossible just months earlier. As she watched the cooperation, Sora reflected on how quickly things had changed. The Federation had ridiculed Earth's defenses until the bullets started flying. Now those same bullets were helping to protect the peace that all species wanted to maintain. The demonstration was over, but the real work of building a secure galaxy was just beginning, and humanity would be at the center of it all, no longer as junior members asking for acceptance, but as essential partners whose strength guaranteed everyone's survival. The age of human military power had begun, but more importantly, the age of human leadership in galactic affairs had started as well. The bullets had spoken, and the galaxy had listened. General Vex-Tar stood in the medical bay of his damaged flagship, receiving treatment for cuts from flying debris. But his mind wasn't on his injuries. It was on the impossible defeat he had just suffered. As the medical drone worked on his wounds, he made a decision that would change everything. "Communications," he called to his aide. "Send an emergency message to Korthax Command. Request immediate reinforcement. Full battle group." Captain Hernax, who was being treated at the next bed, looked shocked. "Sir, the demonstration is over." The humans proved their point. General Vex-Tar's eyes burned with something between rage and humiliation. "Captain, no Korthax force has ever been defeated by primitives with kinetic weapons. Our military reputation is at stake. If word spreads that 12 human ships can destroy an entire Korthax squadron, our enemies will see us as weak. But, sir, their tactics are unlike anything we've encountered, which is exactly why we need to study them further. Send the message." 3 hours later, Admiral Mi Young Kang was reviewing damage reports when her communications officer interrupted. "Admiral, long-range sensors are detecting multiple hyperspace signatures approaching our position." Admiral Kang looked up from her reports. "How many?" 36 ships, Admiral. All Korthax design. They'll arrive in approximately 1 hour. The bridge fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. General Vex-Tar was escalating the conflict. "Signal. Earth Command," Admiral Kang ordered. "Inform them of the situation." 30 minutes later, she received a response from General Dong-Woo Han. His image appeared on her private screen, and his expression was grim. "Admiral, the Federation is in an uproar. Some species are calling for immediate intervention. Others want to see how this plays out." "What are your orders, General?" "Fight them, Admiral. But this time, show them what human military doctrine really looks like. No holding back." Admiral Kang felt a chill run down her spine. "Sir, are you authorizing unrestricted warfare protocols?" "I am. Doctrine 77 Alpha is now in effect." The communication ended. Admiral Kang stood silently for a moment, then turned to her crew. "All hands, this is the Admiral. We are now under unrestricted warfare protocols. All weapon systems are authorized for maximum deployment. Signal the fleet. Prepare for Doctrine 77 Alpha." Across the human fleet, the response was immediate. Weapons that had been held in reserve were brought online. Ammunition types that hadn't been used in the first engagement were loaded into firing chambers. The human ships began to transform, from exploration vessels into something much more dangerous. Captain Wu Jin Nam, commanding the EDF Busan, spoke to his weapons officer. "Prepare the kinetic shrapnel clouds. Pattern Alpha 7 across their projected approach vector." "Sir, that will make the entire area lethal to navigation." "That's the idea, Lieutenant." On the EDF Seoul, Captain Seok Jin Oh reviewed his ship's enhanced weapon loadout. "Navigation. Plot intercept courses for all incoming vessels. Weapons. Prepare proximity mines and guided kinetic kill vehicles." "Sir," his tactical officer said nervously, "those weapons are designed for total warfare scenarios." "Lieutenant, we're about to show the galaxy why humanity reached the stars. It wasn't because we were peaceful explorers. It was because we were very good at destroying anything that threatened us." The Korthax reinforcement fleet arrived exactly on schedule. 36 heavy cruisers dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation. Combined with General Vex-Tar's surviving ships, the alien force now numbered 40 vessels against Earth's 60. General Vextar, back on his repaired bridge, opened communications to Admiral Kang. Admiral, as you can see, I have brought additional forces. Surely now you understand the futility of resisting superior numbers and technology. Admiral Kang's response was calm and professional. General, I see you've brought friends. That's considerate of you. Surrender now, and I will guarantee the safety of your crews. Thank you for the offer. We decline. General Vextar's confidence returned as he looked at his tactical display. 40 Korthax ships against 60 human vessels. With proper tactics, the engagement should be manageable. Very well. All ships, advance in formation. Prepare for coordinated plasma bombardment. The Korthax fleet began moving toward the humans. But something was different this time. As they advanced, the space around the human fleet began to change. Sir, called the Korthax tactical officer, I'm detecting multiple objects deploying from the human ships. What kind of objects? Unknown, sir. They appear to be small projectiles, but they're not moving in attack patterns. What the Korthax sensors were detecting were kinetic minefields. The human ships had been laying clouds of small, high-velocity projectiles in a complex pattern around their position. Each projectile was programmed to activate when enemy ships entered its engagement zone. Admiral, reported Captain O from his tactical station, shrapnel fields are deployed and active. Any ship entering the kill zone will encounter approximately 10,000 projectiles per cubic kilometer. Admiral Kang nodded approvingly. Excellent. What about the kinetic kill vehicles? Deployed and tracking, Admiral. Each enemy ship now has multiple independent projectiles locked onto their position. The Korthax fleet was advancing into a trap unlike anything they had ever encountered. Their sensors, designed to track individual energy weapons and large projectiles, were overwhelmed by the sheer number of small kinetic objects filling space around them. Sir? The alien tactical officer's voice was becoming strained. Our computers cannot process this many individual targets. The tracking systems are overloading. General Vextar stared at his displays in growing alarm. How many projectiles are out there? Preliminary count suggests over 200,000, sir, and more are being deployed every minute. The first Korthax ship entered the kinetic minefield. The vessel was immediately struck by dozens of high-velocity projectiles. Unlike the larger railgun rounds from the previous battle, these were designed to cause maximum damage to ship systems. Small holes appeared across the ship's hull. Atmosphere vented into space. Electrical systems failed as projectiles severed power conduits. Within minutes, the once proud cruiser was drifting helplessly. All ships, halt advance, General Vextar ordered. But it was too late. Half his fleet was already inside the kill zone. Admiral Kang watched the chaos with professional satisfaction. Signal all ships, commence Operation Overwhelming Force. The human fleet erupted into action. But this time, they weren't just firing railguns and missiles. They were deploying every weapon system that human military science had developed. Kinetic kill vehicles, small guided projectiles designed to hunt down specific targets, launched from hidden bays. Each one was programmed to track a different enemy ship and attack its most vulnerable systems. Proximity mines spread throughout the battle area, creating zones of space that were lethal to traverse. Any ship trying to maneuver found itself under constant attack from multiple directions. And through it all, the railguns and missile launchers continued their relentless bombardment. "This is impossible!" General Vextar shouted over the noise of impacts on his hull. "No species fights like this!" Captain Hernax, struggling with his overloaded sensors, called out damage reports. "Sir, we've lost 18 ships in the first 10 minutes. The remaining vessels are reporting critical damage. How are they generating so much firepower?" "Sir, I don't think they're trying to fight us ship to ship. I think they're trying to kill everything in this entire region of space. On the Federation, observation ships." The alien delegates watched in stunned silence. What they were seeing defied every principle of civilized warfare. "They're not fighting a battle," whispered Counselor Thexneal. They're conducting an extermination. Ambassador Sora Park, monitoring the communications, heard the comment. She activated her communication system. Counselor, you're beginning to understand. When humans fight, we don't seek victory. We seek the complete elimination of any threat to our survival. The battle continued for another 30 minutes. When it finally ended, 37 Korthax ships were either destroyed or completely disabled. General Vextar's flagship was among the few vessels that retained basic life support. The demonstration was complete, but its implications would reshape galactic politics forever. The bridge of General Vextar's flagship was a mess of sparking electronics and twisted metal. Emergency lights cast red shadows across the command center. The general himself stood in the center of the chaos, staring at his tactical displays, in disbelief. "Sir," called Captain Hernax from his damaged station, "we have hull breaches on decks 7 through 12. Engineering reports that our main plasma conduits are offline." General Vextar barely heard him. His attention was focused on the sensor readings that showed the human fleet. Those crude, ugly ships were still firing. Streams of projectiles continued to pour from their weapons, even though the Korthax formation was already broken. "Why aren't they stopping?" he asked nobody in particular. Captain Hernax struggled with his controls. "Sir, I'm reading massive ammunition reserves on every human vessel. They appear to have enough projectiles to maintain this bombardment for hours." The general's scaled hands clenched into fists. In 300 years of military service, he had never encountered tactics like this. Korthax warfare was about precision, single shots that disabled or destroyed enemy vessels with elegant efficiency. This was something else entirely. On the human flagship, Admiral Mi-Young Kang watched the destruction of the alien formation with professional satisfaction. But she wasn't finished yet. "Captain O," she said to her tactical officer. "Analysis. Of enemy damage? 3 ships completely disabled, Admiral. The rest show significant structural damage. Their energy weapons appear to be offline. Good. Signal the fleet to maintain firing pattern Alpha 7. I want continuous bombardment on the remaining targets." Captain Seok Jin. O looked puzzled. "Admiral, they're clearly defeated. Shouldn't we offer them a chance to surrender?" Admiral Kang's expression didn't change. "Captain, this isn't just a battle, this is a demonstration. Every species in the galaxy is watching this engagement. We need to show them exactly what human military doctrine looks like." She turned to Communications Officer Jin-Woo Park. "Officer? Park, are the Federation observers still monitoring?" "Yes, Admiral. Multiple observation ships are recording everything." "Excellent. Continue the lesson." On one of those observation ships, Counselor Thexnil of the Zephyrians watched the battle with growing horror. His multiple eyes tracked the thousands of projectiles that continued to strike the Korthax fleet. The insectoid being had never seen anything like it. "How many rounds have they fired?" he asked his aide. The younger Zephyrian checked his instruments. "Over 50,000 so far, Counselor, and they show no signs of stopping." "That's impossible. No ship can carry that much ammunition." "Apparently human ships can, sir." Counselor Thexnil's mandibles clicked together nervously. He had laughed at the human weapons just days ago. Now he was watching those same weapons systematically destroy one of the galaxy's most feared military forces. Back on the human flagship, Admiral Kang received a priority communication from Earth. General Dongwoo Han appeared on her private screen. "Admiral, excellent work. How are your ammunition reserves?" "We've used approximately 8% of our total load, General. We can maintain this rate of fire for another 6 hours if necessary." General Han nodded approvingly. "The Federation is watching, Admiral. Make sure they understand the lesson." The communication ended. Admiral Kang turned back to the main battle. Display. The Korthax ships were trying to retreat, but human missiles were faster than their damaged engines. On General Vextar's bridge, the damage reports kept coming. "Sir, the deadly Fying reports total engine failure. The Stormbringer has lost all weapons power. The Night Hunter is requesting immediate evacuation. General Vextar stared at the tactical display. His perfect formation was gone. His ships were scattered and broken. The humans had done this with weapons that any civilized species would consider primitive. "How?" he whispered. Captain Hernax heard him. "Sir, I've been analyzing their tactics. They're not fighting like any known military doctrine. They're using what appears to be saturation bombardment." Explain. "Instead of precise targeting, they're firing everything they have at everything we have. They're not trying to disable specific systems. They're trying to overwhelm our entire defensive capability." The general's eyes widened as understanding dawned. "They're not fighting a war. They're fighting an extermination." On another Federation observation ship, Ambassador Sora Park watched the battle with mixed emotions. Part of her was proud of Earth's military performance, but another part was worried about what the other species would think. "Ambassador," said her aide, "Counselor Thexnil is requesting a communication." The Zephyrian appeared on her screen. His normally composed manner was gone. "Ambassador Park, what are your people doing? This level of destruction is unnecessary. The Korthax are clearly defeated." Sora chose her words carefully. "Counselor, you asked to see human military capability. This is how humans fight when their survival is threatened." "But they're not threatened. This was supposed to be a demonstration." "Exactly. We're demonstrating why threatening humanity is a very bad idea." The Zephyrian's multiple eyes blinked in sequence. "Ambassador, do all human ships carry this much firepower?" "Counselor, this is our exploration fleet. Our actual warships carry 3 times as much ammunition." The communication ended abruptly. Back in the battle zone, Admiral Kang finally gave the order to cease fire. The human weapons fell silent. Space. Between the two fleets was filled with debris and the drifting hulks of disabled Korthax vessels. "Signal the enemy flagship," she ordered. General Vexitar's image appeared on the main screen. His bridge was dark and his uniform was torn, but his eyes were alert and focused. "General," Admiral Kong said formally, "do you wish to continue this engagement?" The Korthax commander was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was different. The arrogance was gone. "Admiral, in 300 years of military service, I have never encountered tactics like yours. Your weapons may be primitive, but your approach to warfare is—" He paused, searching for words. "It is unlike anything in our military academies." "Thank you, General." "I am curious about something. Why did you continue firing after we were clearly defeated?" Admiral Kang's expression remained neutral. "General, this battle was never about defeating your squadron. It was about showing the galaxy what happens when someone threatens Earth. And what happens? We don't stop until the threat is completely eliminated. We don't fight for honor or glory. We fight for survival. And when humans fight for survival, we use every advantage we have." General Vextar nodded slowly. "I see. Admiral, I formally surrender my remaining vessels, but I must ask, do all human military commanders think like you?" "General, I'm actually considered quite restrained by human standards." The alien's scaled face showed what might have been respect. "Remarkable. No wonder your species survived to reach space." As rescue operations began for the damaged Korthax ships, news of the battle spread across the galaxy at light speed. In Federation Council chambers, military academies, and government centers, the recordings were studied and analyzed. The verdict was unanimous. Humanity had just redefined galactic warfare. The age of elegant energy weapon duels was over. The age of human kinetic bombardment had begun, and every species in the galaxy was suddenly very interested in becoming Earth's friend rather than its enemy. The neutral zone was a patch of empty space between 2 star systems. No planets, no asteroids, just the endless black of deep space dotted with distant stars. It was the perfect place for a battle that the entire galaxy would be watching. Admiral Mi-young Kang stood on the bridge of the EDF Incheon, Earth's flagship cruiser. Through the main viewing screen, she could see the rest of the human fleet. 60 warships hung in space like a steel constellation. Each ship was dark gray with sharp angles. They looked nothing like the elegant alien vessels that filled Federation. "Space! Admiral," called Communications Officer Jin-Woo Park. "The Korthax fleet is approaching. 12 ships, just as promised." Admiral Kang nodded. "Put them on screen." The display changed to show the approaching alien vessels. They were beautiful in a deadly way. Each ship was twice the size of a human cruiser. Their hulls were smooth and curved like the shells of sea creatures. Energy weapons glowed along their sides like blue jewels. "Impressive," said Captain Sok-jin. From his position at the tactical station. "But size isn't everything." Admiral Kang had served in space for 20 years. She had fought pirates and rebels across human space. But this was different. This was Earth's first real test against galactic military power. "Signal from the lead Korthax vessel," reported Officer Park. On screen, General Vextar appeared on the main display. His scaled face showed confidence and amusement. Behind him, the bridge of his flagship gleamed with advanced technology. "Admiral Kang," the general said, his voice deep and rough, "I am surprised you actually came. I thought humans might have more sense than to face superior technology." "General Vextar," Admiral Kang replied calmly, "we appreciate your concern for our welfare, but Earth has never backed down from a fair fight." The general's laugh was like rocks grinding together. "Fair? 12 ships against 60? I am being generous." "Human. Normally I would consider this an insult to Korthax honor." "Then why did you propose these numbers?" "Because I want to make a point. Your primitive weapons are useless against modern military technology. Better you learn this lesson with your fleet intact than in a real war." Admiral Kang felt her jaw tighten. The alien's tone was like an adult talking to a child. "General, shall we begin? The Federation observers are waiting." "As you wish." General Vextar's image flickered with static. "Try not to embarrass yourselves too badly." The transmission ended. Admiral Kang turned to her crew. "All stations, battle alert. Signal the fleet to assume attack formation." The human ships began to move. Instead of the neat lines favored by most galactic militaries, they formed a rough sphere. The formation looked chaotic to alien eyes, but every human captain knew exactly where they were supposed to be. "Korthax ships are advancing," reported Captain O. "They're maintaining perfect formation spacing." Admiral Kang watched the enemy vessels approach. They moved like dancers, each ship keeping precise distance from its neighbors. It was beautiful to watch. It was also predictable. "Range to target?" she asked. 400,000 kilometers and closing." "Signal from General Vextar, officer," Park announced. The Korthax commander appeared on screen again. "Admiral, this is your last chance to surrender. My plasma cannons can destroy your entire fleet from this range." "Thank you for the warning, General. We decline your offer." "So be it." The alien's eyes gleamed with anticipated victory. "Remember, you chose this." The Korthax ships suddenly burst into motion. 12 vessels accelerated toward the human fleet with stunning speed. Their plasma cannons began to glow with building energy. "They're charging weapons," Captain O reported. "Multiple energy signatures across their entire fleet." Admiral Kang watched the enemy ships close the distance. At this range, their plasma weapons would be devastatingly effective. But that was part of the plan. All ships maintained defensive positions. "Let them come to us." The first plasma bolts fired when the aliens reached maximum effective range. Streams of superheated gas lanced across space toward the human fleet. The energy beams were beautiful and terrible, like liquid starlight. Earth's point defense systems came alive. Thousands of small kinetic rounds sprayed into space, creating interference patterns in the plasma streams. The beams scattered and weakened as they hit the defensive barriers. But some plasma still got through. The EDF Soul took a direct hit on her port armor. The energy beam burned through 3 decks before the ablative plating absorbed the rest. Soul reports minor damage, came the report. All systems operational. General Vextar's voice crackled over the communication channel. Impossible. That shot should have crippled your ship. Admiral Kang allowed herself a small smile. General, human armor is designed differently than what you're used to. We build our ships to take damage and keep fighting. The Korthax ships closed to medium range. Their quantum torpedoes began launching. The weapons were invisible until they hit, phasing through normal matter to explode inside their targets. But the torpedoes had never encountered human defensive doctrine before. Earth ships carried specialized sensors that could track quantum signatures. When the torpedoes appeared inside human hulls, automated systems were ready. Emergency bulkheads slammed shut. Atmosphere was vented from affected compartments. The quantum explosions found themselves contained in empty spaces where they could do minimal damage. "Damage report from the fleet," Captain O called out. 7 ships report torpedo hits. All ships remain combat effective. Admiral Kang could see the confusion on General Vextar's face. His weapons were landing hits, but they weren't achieving the devastating results he expected. "Now it's our turn," she said quietly. "All ships, execute firebase protocol." Across the human fleet, weapon systems that had been waiting in standby mode suddenly came online. Railgun turrets swiveled toward the alien ships. Missile pods opened like deadly flowers. Target locks appeared on 60 different screens. "Admiral," Captain O said, his voice tight with anticipation. "All ships report ready." Admiral Kang took a deep breath. What happened next would determine Earth's future in the galaxy. "All ships, fire everything." The human fleet erupted. Railguns that had been silent suddenly roared to life. Tungsten rods accelerated to incredible speeds, each one carrying the kinetic energy of a small bomb. Missile pods launched their entire loads in coordinated volleys. Point defense guns that had been shooting defensively now turned toward the enemy. Space between the 2 fleets filled with projectiles, thousands of them, moving at speeds that made them invisible to the naked eye. The Korthax ships had energy shields designed to stop plasma beams and laser strikes. They had never faced anything like this. The first kinetic rounds hit General Vextar's flagship 30 seconds after launch. The tungsten rods punched through the energy shields like they weren't there. Each impact transferred its full momentum to the alien hull. The flagship shuddered. Damage alarms wailed across its bridge. "Report!" General Vextar shouted. "Sir, we're taking kinetic impacts across the entire hull. The shields can't stop them. How many incoming rounds?" The tactical officer's voice was strained. "Sir, there are thousands of them. Our sensors can't track them all." Admiral Kang watched the alien fleet reel under the impact of human firepower. This was what the aliens didn't understand about human warfare. Humans didn't fight with precision. They fought with overwhelming force. "Continue firing," she ordered. All ships sustained bombardment. The human fleet kept shooting. Railguns fired round after round. Missile launchers reloaded and fired again. The space around the Korthax ships became a storm of metal and explosives. 2 alien vessels lost power as kinetic rounds shattered their engine systems. A 3rd ship's bridge was hit by a concentrated missile barrage. The elegant formation that had approached so confidently was falling apart. "Signal from General Vextar," Officer Park reported. The alien commander appeared on screen. His bridge was dark and filled with smoke. Sparks flew from damaged control panels. "What are you doing?" he demanded. "This isn't how civilized species—" "Fight!" Admiral Kang's expression was cold. "General, you wanted to see human military doctrine. This is it. We don't fight for honor or glory. We fight to win." The bombardment continued. By the time Admiral Kang finally called for ceasefire, 3 Korthax ships were completely disabled and drifting. The rest were heavily damaged and barely able to maintain formation. The demonstration was over, and everyone in the galaxy was watching. The shuttle carrying Ambassador Sora Park and military advisor Taemin Kim docked at Earth's orbital command station 3 hours after leaving the Federation Council. The station was a massive ring of metal and concrete that spun slowly in space, above Earth. Through the viewing ports, the blue and white planet turned peacefully below. Commander Jae-hyun Lee was waiting for them at the docking port. His uniform was crisp and his face was serious. Behind him stood several other officers from Earth's Defense Command. "How bad is it?" Commander Lee asked without greeting. "Bad," Taemin replied. "General Vextar wants to fight our entire orbital defense fleet with just 12 of his ships." Commander Lee's eyebrows rose. 12 against 60? He's either very confident or very stupid. "He's confident," Sora said quietly. "The entire Federation Council was laughing at our weapons. They think kinetic projectiles are toys." They walked through the station's corridors toward the command center. The walls were lined with displays showing Earth's military assets, ships, weapons, personnel numbers. Everything looked solid and impressive to human eyes. But Sora remembered the gleaming alien vessels with their exotic energy weapons. The command center was a large room filled with screens and control stations. Officers worked at computer terminals, monitoring Earth's defenses. At the center of the room stood a holographic display table. General Dongwoo Han was studying the display when they entered. He was a tall man with gray hair and steady eyes. He had commanded Earth's military for 10 years. His experience showed in the way he carried himself. "General," Taemin said, saluting. "At ease," General Han replied. "I've been reviewing the challenge parameters that the Federation sent us. General Vextar wants to meet us in the neutral zone. No planetary defenses, no orbital platforms. Just ship against ship." He pressed a button on the table. The hologram changed to show the proposed battle area. It was empty space between 2 star systems. "Their terms are simple," General Han continued. 12 Korthax heavy cruisers against our entire mobile fleet. 60 ships total. "What do we know about their weapons?" asked Commander Lee. Chief Engineer Hyejin Choi stepped forward from her position at a side console. She was young for her rank, but her technical skills were legendary in the defense forces. "I've been studying Korthax military technology for the past 6 months," she said. "Their plasma cannons are impressive. They can fire bursts of superheated gas at nearly light speed. Each shot carries enough energy to vaporize a city block." She activated another display. It showed a Korthax warship in detail. The vessel was sleek and predatory-looking. Energy weapons covered its hull like scales on a snake. "Their quantum torpedoes are even more dangerous," Engineer Choi continued. "They can phase through normal matter and explode inside a ship's hull. Very few defenses can stop them." "What about their shields?" Taemin asked. "That's the interesting part," Engineer Choi smiled slightly. "Their energy shields are designed to absorb and disperse incoming energy attacks. They spread the force of plasma beams or laser strikes across the entire shield surface." She highlighted different parts of the alien ship. But here's what they might not have considered. Their shields work by converting energy into heat and light. They're not designed to handle kinetic impacts. General Han leaned forward with interest. "Explain." "Think of it this way, sir. If you fire a laser at their shield, the shield converts the laser energy and spreads it out harmlessly. But if you throw a rock at the same shield, the rock doesn't disappear. It hits the shield generator with all its momentum intact." Commander Lee nodded slowly. "So our railgun rounds would punch right through?" "Possibly," Engineer Choi said. "But we won't know for sure until we test it." General Han walked around the holographic display. His face showed deep thought. "What about numbers?" he asked. 12 ships against 60. Even if they're individual, ships are more powerful, We have them outnumbered 5-1. That's another advantage, Taemin said. Human military doctrine has always emphasized overwhelming firepower. We don't fight fair. We fight to win. Sora looked uncomfortable. Gentlemen, I have to ask, are we really going to do this? If we lose, Earth could be expelled from the Federation. Our trade agreements, our technology exchanges, everything could be lost. The room fell silent. Everyone understood the stakes. General Han spoke first. Ambassador, what happens if we refuse the challenge? We become a joke, Sora admitted. No one will take Earth seriously ever again. We'll be the cowards who backed down from a fight. And if we fight and lose, we'll be the primitives who got crushed by superior technology. But at least we'll have tried. Taemin stepped closer to the holographic display. General, I think we can win this. Based on what? Based on the fact that they don't understand how we fight. Look at their formation tactics. He pointed to Federation, records of Korthax battles. They fight like knights. Individual ships engaging in single combat, elegant, honorable, predictable. Commander Lee caught on quickly. But we don't fight like that. Exactly, Taemin continued. We fight like pack, hunters. We coordinate our attacks. We concentrate fire. We use every advantage we can get. Engineer Choi pulled up specifications for Earth's warships. The vessels looked crude compared to alien designs, but they were built for a different purpose. Our ships carry more ammunition than any Federation vessel, she explained. The EDF Incheon alone has enough railgun rounds to fight continuously for 6 hours. Our missile pods can launch hundreds of projectiles in a single volley. General Han studied the numbers. How many rounds total across the entire fleet? Over 2 million kinetic rounds, sir, plus 50,000 guided missiles, and that's just the primary weapons. The general whistled softly. They're expecting an elegant duel. We're bringing a hurricane. Admiral Mi Young Kang entered the command center at that moment. She commanded Earth's space fleet and had been preparing for this possibility since the challenge was issued. General, she said, saluting, the fleet is ready to deploy. All 60 ships are fully armed and crews are standing by. What's your assessment, Admiral? General Han asked. Admiral Kang was quiet for a moment. Then she spoke with careful precision. Sir, I've reviewed the tactical situation. The Korthax have better individual ships. Their energy weapons are more powerful than anything we carry. Their shields can stop most known attacks. She paused. But they've never fought humans before. They don't know about saturation bombardment. They don't know about coordinated kinetic strikes. They don't know that we'll throw everything we have at them all at once. General Han nodded slowly. So, you think we can win? I think we can surprise them, sir. And in warfare, surprise is often more valuable than superior technology. The decision was made in that moment. General Han straightened to his full height. Very well. We accept the challenge. Admiral Kang, prepare the fleet for deployment to the neutral zone. Commander Lee, coordinate with Orbital Command. Engineer Choi, I want every weapon system checked and double-checked. He turned to Sora and Taemin. Ambassador, send our acceptance to the Federation Council. Tell them Earth is ready to demonstrate the effectiveness of human military doctrine. As the officers dispersed to their duties, Taemin remained behind with General Han. Sir, there's one more thing the aliens don't understand about us. What's that? They think war is about honor and glory. For humans, war is about survival. And when humans fight for survival, we don't hold anything back. General Han smiled grimly. Let's hope General Vextar is ready to learn that lesson. Outside the command center's windows, Earth's defense fleet was already beginning to move. 60 warships powered up their engines and prepared for the journey to the neutral zone. In 5 days, they would face the most advanced military force in the galaxy. The outcome would determine Earth's future among the stars. The giant metal doors of the Federation Council chamber opened with a deep hum. Ambassador Sora Park walked through them with steady steps. Her black uniform carried the simple blue and white flag of Earth on her shoulder. Behind her came Chief military advisor Tae-min Kim. He wore the dark green dress uniform of the Earth Defense Forces. The chamber was huge. Hundreds of alien beings sat in curved rows that rose up toward the domed ceiling. The air smelled strange. It was a mix of different atmospheres that each species needed to breathe. Some aliens floated in clear bubbles filled with gas. Others sat on heated stone platforms. A few hung upside down from metal bars. Sora looked around the chamber. Even after 5 years as Earth's ambassador, the sight still amazed her. The insectoid. Zephyrians clicked their mandibles together. Their multiple eyes watched everything at once. The crystalline, luminous beings glowed with soft light. They spoke by changing colors instead of using voices. The reptilian Korthax sat straight and proud. Their scaled skin gleamed under the chamber lights. Earth seats were in the back row. The newest members always sat there. Sora had tried many times to get better seats for humanity. The other species always said the same thing. New members must earn their place. The council speaker stood up. He was a tall vegan with blue skin and 4 arms. His voice echoed through the chamber. Today we review the military capabilities of member worlds. Each species will present their current defense systems. Sora felt her stomach tighten. She knew this day would come. Earth had been a Federation member for 50 years, but humans still used what other species called primitive weapons. While aliens fought with energy beams and quantum bombs, humans still used bullets and missiles. The first presentation began. The Altarian delegate stood up. A hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed sleek silver ships firing, bright blue energy beams. Our new plasma destroyers can cut through any known armor, the Altarian said. Each beam carries the power of a small star. Murmurs of approval came from around the chamber. The aliens nodded their various types of heads. Next came the Zephyrian military advisor. The insect being's voice was high and buzzing. Our gravity weapons can crush entire fleets. We bend space itself to destroy our enemies. More impressed sounds filled the air. Sora noticed how the other species looked at each presentation. Their eyes showed respect and even fear. Then it was Earth's turn. Sora stood up slowly. She pressed a button on her wrist device. A hologram appeared, showing human warships. They looked different from alien vessels. Where alien ships were smooth and curved, human ships had sharp angles. Where aliens used gleaming metals, humans used dark steel armor. Earth's defense fleet consists of 12 heavy cruisers and 48 destroyers, Sora began. Our primary weapons are kinetic rail guns, chemical explosive missiles, and projectile-based point defense systems. Silence fell over the chamber. Then someone started laughing. It was a low rumbling sound from one of the Korthax delegates. Soon other aliens joined in. The Zephyrians clicked their mandibles rapidly. The luminous beings flashed bright colors. Counselor Thexneal of the Zephyrians spoke first. His voice carried clear amusement. Ambassador Park, did you say your species still uses projectiles? Yes, Counselor. We fire solid objects at high speed to damage enemy vessels. More laughter echoed through the chamber. A luminous being flashed. Red and orange, which meant extreme surprise in their color language. But surely you have moved beyond such crude methods, asked another delegate. Throwing rocks is what primitive species do. Tae-min Kim stepped forward. His face stayed calm, but Sora could see the muscle in his jaw tighten. Our weapons are highly effective, he said. We have tested them extensively. This brought even louder laughter. A Korthax general stood up. His name was Vextar, and he was famous throughout the galaxy. His scaled face showed what might have been a smile. Humans, he said, his voice deep and rough. You speak of throwing metal at your enemies. Meanwhile, my ships carry plasma cannons that burn hotter than solar cores. Our quantum torpedoes can break the bonds between atoms. General Vextar activated his own hologram. It showed massive Korthax warships. Their hulls were covered with glowing energy weapons. The ships moved like graceful predators through space. Perhaps, the general continued, it is time someone taught humanity how real warriors fight. The chamber erupted in approving sounds. Aliens of all types seemed to agree with the Korthax general. Tai Min stepped closer to the center of the chamber. His voice stayed steady and professional. General Vextar, our weapons may seem simple to you, but they work on basic physical laws. When a heavy object hits something at high speed, it transfers all its energy to the target. No shields can change the laws of physics. This brought fresh laughter from the audience. Counselor Thexanil spoke again. Young human, energy shields. Disperse incoming force. Your primitive projectiles would bounce off our defenses like raindrops. With respect, Counselor, Taemin replied, your shields are designed to spread energy over their surface. Kinetic weapons work differently. They concentrate all their force into a single point of impact. General Vextar's eyes gleamed with interest. He looked like a hunter who had found interesting prey. You speak with confidence for someone who has never faced real military technology. Perhaps we should test these claims. The chamber grew quiet. Everyone understood what the general was suggesting. A challenge between species was serious business in the Federation. Sora felt her heart speed up. She knew Tai Min well enough to see he was angry. His military pride was hurt by all the laughter. What kind of test do you suggest? Taemin asked. General Vextar spread his arms wide. The gesture looked theatrical under the chamber lights. A simple demonstration. My squadron, against your entire orbital defense fleet. We will show the galaxy the difference between advanced warfare and throwing rocks. The crowd stirred with excitement. Challenges like this rarely happened in the peaceful Federation. The council speaker raised one of his 4 arms for silence. General Vextar, are you formally challenging Earth's military capability? I am, the Korthax general replied. It is time these humans learned their place in the Galactic Order. All eyes turned to Sora and Taemin. The ambassador knew this moment would define Earth's future in the Federation. If they refused, humans would be seen as cowards. If they accepted and lost, Earth might lose its membership entirely. Taemin looked at Sora. She saw determination in his eyes. He gave her a small nod. Sora stepped forward. Her voice carried clearly through the silent chamber. Earth accepts your challenge, General Vextar. We will prove that human weapons are more effective than you believe. The chamber exploded with sound. Aliens called out in their various languages. Some seemed excited by the coming battle. Others appeared shocked that the humans had accepted. General Vextar's smile grew wider. His sharp teeth gleamed. Excellent. We will meet in the neutral zone in 7 days. Bring all your ships, humans. You will need them. As the session ended and aliens began filing out, Sora heard fragments of conversation. The humans are brave, but foolish. Kinetic weapons against energy shields. This will be over quickly. I almost feel sorry for them. Taemin moved closer to Sora as they walked toward the exit. Did we just make a terrible mistake? She whispered. Taemin was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. Ambassador, they have no idea what human warfare actually looks like. They think war is about elegant energy beams and precise strikes. They've never seen what happens when humans decide to really fight. As they left the chamber, Sora wondered if Taemin's confidence was justified. In 7 days, they would find out if human bullets could really stand against alien energy weapons. The laughter of the alien delegates still echoed in her ears.